Good morning everyone, this is M4J and welcome back to the channel for another Make Me Suffer video. Now this one we are taking a look at the T-34-2, the Chinese Tier 8 medium tank. And I have to say, out of all the Make Me Suffer videos so far, even if there have only been two, this one was by far the worst one yet. Now why exactly is that? The reason that this one was the worst yet is because unlike the first two videos, I was still fully stock. I mounted all of the stock modules on the tank, but I also started out from 50% crew, had no equipment, no consumables, and no provisions. For example, if we lost our turret ring in the battle, we would be unable to repair it and would be stuck with a very, very slow turret throughout the entire battle. And our characteristics overall were just as worse as they could possibly be. So this one was definitely the worst one so far. And another big reason for that is compared to the normal, fully upgraded, maxed out T-34-2 is the gun. And so we're going to be comparing these two tanks here, and then we're going to look at some replays. So, what is so bad about the gun? So the stock 85mm, you're actually looking at it at 100% crew XP. I did remove provisions and equipment, but I was unable to figure out a way to put it down at 50% crew. So we're looking at it at 100% crew XP, and it is still considerably worse than the top 100mm gun. So already it has 300 damage per minute less. That's pretty much to be expected with a stock gun. This gun, however, was the stock gun on the Tier 6 Chinese medium tank, and it's still being used on the Tier 8. So, a gun that has a very hard time fighting Tier 6 tanks, think about how much harder it's going to be fighting Tier 8 and 9 tanks. So, that is exactly what we had to deal with. 120 millimeters of penetration, only 200 damage, and with a 6.3 second reload at 100% crew XP, even though when we were doing it at 50% crew, it was actually closer to an 8-second reload, which put our DPM just very, very, very low. It's an 85mm gun, and it has a very slow shell velocity by comparison, and the aim time and the dispersion values on the move, it was almost worse than driving a T-49 by how much that reticle bloomed out while I was driving. Dispersion values are just absolutely terrible. Power to weight ratios, and the mobility was okay on the tank. I could live with the mobility, and I could live with the somewhat lower turret armor, because that turret was the same turret as on the T-34-1, which was a very, very solid tank at its tier. So you simply just stuck the turret one tier higher for the stock turret, not that bad to deal with. And the mobility was okay as well, but that stock gun with 120 millimeters of penetration, horrible aim time and dispersion values on the move, and 8-second reload and only 120 millimeters of penetration, yeah, now you might be able to begin to see why exactly this grind was so much worse than the one than any other before. So let's get into look at some of these replays and see just how much I actually suffered. So first up, we're on Falls Creek, and there are 4 tanks that we can actually penetrate: the AMX 1390, the Charioteer, the Progetto 46, and the T-49 Hornet. And that was really the only thing I could hope for in getting into a battle with this tank, was having a few tanks that were fairly weak enough that I could penetrate, and also enough of them that I would actually be able to get some shots off. So, as you can see here, we did take the track off of the AMX 1390. I see the T-49 behind me. I don't want to take a nasty round to the rear, because the T-34-2 doesn't have the greatest rear or side armor for that fact. I see the AMX 1390 running out there, so I go for a shot on him. Surprisingly, with the dispersion on this tank, I was still actually able to hit that shot there. So I see this T-49, the Progetto is down. The AMX 1390 is running away, so I'm going to go for this T-49 here. Now, I could actually have loaded up the HE there. At the time, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just trying to get some shots off. But if I had thought a little bit more, I could have loaded the HE and taken him out with one shot. Because this tank, while the armor-piercing and APC aren't very good, the HE is actually not bad. Its penetration is only like 43 millimeters or so, but it does 300 damage on average. So if I could penetrate something with HE, then I was going to really bump up my DPM by a massive amount. So the IS-3, he's coming up behind me. I'm going to aim for the side there beneath his tracks. I do manage to put a round into him. Unfortunately, 2 of our tanks get taken out right then. I wanted to go for another round on the IS-3, but it was not going to happen. So I backed up, trying to go for this shark tank here. We do get around, but it bounces off, and he shuts us down. So that was actually a fairly good game in this tank. That was my first good game. 1,078 damage and 1 kill. I was actually pretty happy with that result. Now, if I'd been fully maxed out in any other tank, no, I would have not been happy with that result. But under the circumstances, I was fairly enthused by the amount of damage I had been able to pull off. So now, it's about a minute and 30 seconds or so into this game. I noticed the enemy team had practically flanked all around us. Our team was entrapped by a pincer movement, and the T-44 gets a nice shot into our turret ring, and now we are unable to turn our turret nearly as fast as we were before. So I see this SE-152 over here. He is preoccupied with our T-49. What he should have done is turned towards me and gotten a round off, but he was tunneling the E-25 and the T-49. So that allowed me to get around behind him and farm some damage. So our T-49 pokes out there, aiming in a shot. He gets around into this SU's front. I put another round into his behind, and I should be able to reload in time and take him out, because the E-25 really doesn't want to poke forward any. So there goes the SU-152 for our first kill of this game. I see this T-34 Falcon over here, and he is putting our shark tank in grave danger. So I'm coming around here trying to get around into his back to distract him. He isn't looking at me, so I am able to shut him down just in time to save our shark's life. So now it's a 3-on-4, or a 5-on-4, sorry. It's looking like our team should be able to win, although it could go either way. I managed to get around to the FE-301. I'm trying to do the same thing on this T-44, but our penetration is not quite enough to go through that old-style ambulance and his tracks as well. So we don't penetrate that round there. It's now a 5-on-3. Their T-49, or not their, our T-49 is pinging our team to attack this FE-301. He is at very low health and a one-shot. I know I'm not going to be able to turn around in time to go get that shot off, so I'm not going to bother. I want to take out this T-44. There's the FE. The T-49 takes him down, and it is now a 4-on-1, or 4-on-2, sorry. So there goes our Tankenstein. It's a 3-on-2. Their shark tank's still at 900 health. Our T-44, he's at around, or their T-44 is about 300 health or so. So our T-49, he's going for him. The T-44 messes up big time by driving out there, so we're able to get around onto his side. And it is now a 3 versus 1. So we do get a very nice bounce from that shark tank there. I didn't actually bounce too much in this tank during my time to use, but since I was so slow, everybody was really just able to aim for my hull. But so I'm trying to wait on the shark tank to be distracted so I can poke out and get around onto his side, because I'm pretty sure I can't penetrate him frontally with the standard armor piercing, but I know I can get his sides. So I'm telling my team to start rushing. The T-49, however, he started to move a little bit too fast. So I'm loading up the APCR here. It's the only way I can penetrate him frontally. We do get a nice 170 roll into him. And suddenly, it's a 1 versus 1. It's just the shark tank at 170 health. I'm at now 703 health. I should be able to win this if I can roll just a little bit above. Unfortunately, we low roll that shot there on his plate, leaving him at only 16 health. He puts a round into us. I'm trying to get up here and face hug him, but he backs up on the slope. Good play for him there, able to put a round into the top of my hull. And I can't penetrate him. I'm unable to get my gun down enough, so I try to load up the HE and hopefully get a splash on the top of his hull. But that's not going to happen. So he does take me out. Very sad game there. 1,225 damage, 3 kills. So sad, but a good game for me there. And fair play to that shark tank on the enemy team. 4,000 damage for him. So next up, we are on Black Goldville. And we're going to have... This was the best game that I had in this tank. So I'm pushing up here with my medium tanks. I was purposely waiting for the T-44 and the T-34-1 to go ahead of me. Or T-43, sorry. I was waiting on them to go ahead of me, because that's what you have to do in your stock tanks. If people see that you are stocked, they will target you, because you've got low health, you're much easier to clear than a fully upgraded tank. Even though you're not as dangerous, you would expect them to not target you because, again, you're not quite as dangerous. But if you're out in the open and there is a fully upgraded tank just like you, if, like, say you're both T-34-2s, you're sitting beside each other, one's fully upgraded, the other one's stock, they're going to target the stock one first. The reason why is because you have less health. So they're going to take you out as fast as possible to clear those targets, and that makes it just painful grinding these stock tanks. But so I'm over here, I'm trying to keep myself behind some hard cover, so I'm not going to take any shots. I see this RU-251, he pokes out, I load up the HE, get a very nice 313 roll into the side, and now I'm pulling back during that reload. I want to poke out and get that defender, but I decide, you know what, let's go for this RU. I don't want to poke out too far and get shot by the Smasher, so I went for an HE round to the side of the RU-251's turret. Unfortunately, he does run away there, and that shot low rolled. So I'm waiting on the Smasher to poke out, go for his track there. Don't quite penetrate, I'm trying to go hold down, and you can see just how much 120mm of penetration is able to do to a Smasher. You cannot penetrate him frontally unless you hit that lower plate. He is completely solid red. Now I'm sure if I loaded the APCR, I would be able to penetrate his front fairly easily, but if I could penetrate him with armor piercing, I'm not going to waste that gold. So I'm going to come around to his side here, going for that track shot. We do manage to take it off. Unfortunately, we were unable to save our T-34-1. So I should be able to get another round into the Smasher. I do load up the APCR there, going for his track shot again. Unfortunately, it didn't quite take it off, and now he has me on that reload. So I'm going to poke out here. He low rolls there. I'm not sure if he fired heat or HE, but he only did 430 damage, which was very, very fortunate for me. So we do manage to take him down. It's now me and my IS-3 versus 5 tanks from the enemy team. I do try to go for a snapshot there on the Annihilator, but unfortunately I was unable to hit that round. So I'm telling my IS-3 to hold his position. I'm going to push up to those rocks, and hopefully I will be able to get around behind this Annihilator and get some rounds into his rear while our IS-3 pushes forward. So I'm telling him to hold position. I see the KV-4 there. I'm going to ignore him. I'm going to come around the corner. I should have hit attack, or at least the IS-3 should have moved up. Our track gets taken off. The KV-4 shoots us. The Tiger 2 comes up and rams us, and we are pretty much done. I load up the APCR. We can't penetrate him. I can't even penetrate this Annihilator point blank, so I just load up the HE, and yeah, nothing. We get shut down by the KV-4, and now it's just our IS-3 left. But so that was a pretty good game there. 1,500 damage and a kill as well. I was not going to complain, even though we could have done much better if the IS-3 had pushed forward. And then you look at the rest of our team, only 571 for the T-34-1. Yeah, it made me feel a lot better about myself grinding this stock tank, even though I know that it really wasn't that great. But that is all for today, folks. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and be sure to check out some of my other videos as well. This is M4J, over and out.